Welcome to ProKitchen Software online video tutorial series. In this video, we will explore 3D lighting controls. We will locate lighting controls in 3D Edge, identify lighting control options, adjust light source intensity, manipulate light source color, and locate and manipulate brightness controls. ProKitchen offers you the ability to create beautiful and realistic 3D HD renderings of your completed designs and provide your customers with a stunning representation of their room. Creating the most photorealistic representation within the 3D view relies primarily on lighting, shadows, and reflections. In this video, we will focus on the lighting controls within the 3D Edge viewer and how to create the most dynamic room lighting to enhance the final 3D presentation. Once all your desired lighting fixtures have been installed and manipulated to your specifications, navigate to the 3D and VR tab at the top of the ProKitchen window and left-click to open the ribbon. Left-click on the 3D icon found on the far left of the ribbon, or alternatively, left-click the 3D icon on the toolbar to launch the 3D Edge viewer. Once the viewer has finished rendering, navigate to the top control panel and left-click the Refine tool to enhance the 3D view, which will add soft ambient shadows and increase the overall contrast of the image. To adjust your lighting settings for each individual light throughout your design, left-click the lighting settings icon near the center of the top control panel. This action will launch a side panel that will contain the lighting controls for every light source within the room. When manipulating any of the light sources, left-click and hold the slider, then move the mouse. These adjustments will take a brief moment to load the new setting within the 3D viewer and provide a clear and immediate visual of the adjusted illumination. Shadows are everything when it comes to creating realistic presentations within the 3D view. Dispersed light and room default light work in tandem with one another and are the controls utilized to create appropriate shadows and illumination within the room. Room light, or the default light, is light from an invisible point source positioned within the room. This light is the main source of the cast hard shadows and is required for correct color reproduction. It is not recommended to turn it off. Dispersed light is an overall light of an invisible source that is equally dispersed within the room. Adjusting the dispersion of light will control the intensity of how the light is dispersed throughout the design and is used to accurately illuminate your room with the correct color and reflections, as if it were in real life. If you turn it off, you will create harsh, dark shadows, so leave that light on and adjust the watt intensity as needed. These two controls are the most important to creating photorealistic 3D HD views, so adjusting these two items should be the first focus when adjusting the lighting. It is important to note that the greater the difference between dispersed light, low intensity, and room light, high intensity, the more defined the shadows will appear. If these two light settings are too high or too close to one another in intensity, the view of the room will become dull and plastic looking. By decreasing dispersed light and increasing the room light, the shadows will become sharp and dark. By doing the inverse, increasing intensity and decreasing room light, the shadows will become softer. Once dispersed light and room default light have been adjusted to create the most realistic shadows within the room, you can then adjust the remaining lighting options located in the side panel. Room lighting will control all the lights within the room. The only option here is to turn them on or off. Switching this option to off will turn off every light source in 3D and will leave the room in complete darkness, which is not ideal for presentation purposes, as you will not be able to see anything within the room. You will, at this point, be able to turn on each of the individual lights to represent nighttime ambient lighting. The daylight control refers to the automatic sunlight that appears through installed windows and will also create the appropriate shadows and reflections for placed blinds or curtains. Adjusting this option will affect the sunlight cast from windows onto floors, countertops, glossy and metallic-like surfaces. You may adjust this option to decrease the daylight brightness to minimum, which will mimic nighttime, to maximum, mimicking brightest day, or anywhere between. The remaining lights in the side panel represent each individual light fixture installed within the design. These lights are labeled with their individual SKUs, may be turned on or off, and allow you to adjust their wattage intensity independently. As before, left-click and hold the slider bar and drag to the desired brightness level. To choose a different color for the bulbs in the fixtures, left-click in the box next to the word Color to open a color gradient selector. Left-click and hold the slider at the bottom of the color control panel. Drag to the desired hue, then left-click within the gradient above to see the color in the sample preview area. Once the desired color has been selected, left-click anywhere away from the color control panel to apply. If you wish to set all the lighting settings back to their original default, left-click the vertical 3 dots in the top right-hand corner of the sidebar and select Set Default. To close the lighting controls, left-click the arrow pointing to the left at the top left of the sidebar, or left-click the lighting settings icon on the top control panel once again. In addition to the lighting settings, there is also a brightness control that will adjust the brightness of all the lights simultaneously. To access this tool, left-click the brightness control icon. The brightness control will appear as a slider on the right side of the 3D viewer. Left-click and hold this slider and move up or down the scale to brighten or darken your scene. Release the mouse to adjust the overall brightness. Once the slider has been moved into position, again the viewer will briefly load and display the new lighting setting. To hide the brightness control, left-click the brightness icon once more. With ProKitchen's 3D lighting controls, you will be able to elevate your design presentations and knock the socks off your customers with dynamic and photorealistic 3D representations of their completed designs. Thank you for watching this video tutorial. For more videos like this, please visit www.prokitchensoftware.com.